people's house. You know what it is. It's the people's house. Big Zeus. It's the people out. Big Zeus. Pull up to the gate at 1600 on the map. Yeah, I'm to be the people's house. I make it like a trap. Marble floors and chandeliers. I'm balling through the wall. Power to the people. Yeah, I gotta make that call. Trapping for the team, red and white and blue, that's me. Voices on the block, I'm breaking through, I got the keys. I'm in the lobby, yeah, I'm moving like a
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
in the Oval Office in the executive suite. Signing for the fan, yeah, you know my game's strong.
Freedom is the banner and I got my chains on. Secret Service.
Watching snipers sitting on the roof.
That-
Truth is hitting hard, I bury you inside the booth.
Founding fathers vision, yeah, I'm flexing with this cash. Big pharma, big tech, turned his dreams to bags. I'm the voice of the hood.
On the gates, balance in my hand, but the system's overweight. They pay it right.
Things running deep. Promise they selling it, but you know it ain't gonna cheap.
Legends walk this room, Lincoln, MLK. Now it's photo ops, power plays all day. I'm trapping for the vote. Big Zeus,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
people's house. Big Zeus,
Trapping for the vote.
powers in the air.
Big Zeus.
We knocking on the door.
Big Zeus. Good morning.
We wanna hear the song. Yeah. Who you think they asking for? They asking for that smoke. People on them players, yeah, y'all think this is a joke.
Take it back and write the code. 1600 got your soul. Please
Please
share the live out, ladies and gentlemen. This is the third day on the backup of the backup. The second day.
Make your dreams come true. All I need is a spark. Red phone.
Good morning, Tootie.
Don't know who is on my line.
Got the Constitution jumping, yeah, you know I'm so divine.
No stains on my kicks and the rally outside. And the gates is locked.
This power never divides, spitting for the block.
Yeah, buses make them wanna fight. 1600 do
It
it
all day, all night, the people's house is a trap. Got the power, get it back. Money talk loud, time to clap. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a real
I'ma bring it back.
in the people's house. Powers in the air. It's the people's house. We knocking on your Zeus. It's the people's house.
We wanna hear your soul.
Big Zeus.
All right, let's get this show started so we can get in and out as fast as possible. I hope you all are doing great this morning. Welcome to the show.
It's like I'm stuck in time.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's deja vu when I'm running up these rats.
I'm like the Terminator screaming.
I'll be back. It's deja vu when I'm out flying first class. It's like every
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see all of you. I'm on top of my game, the head of the class. You can tell that I made it. Look at my grass. Let's go. Tanks full of gas. Right, Chrissy? I like that.
I won't finish last.
You got it. Let's go. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. I guess we going viral because my Zodiac. Shout out. Benjamin Franklin, this is my bestie. Am I right, Heaven? Let's go, buddy. Let's go, bro. Good morning. Uncle Trey, what's going on? Here it goes. Let's do it real quick together. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this part together. It's my favorite part. I love it. Let's go. Here it goes.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days.
Yes.
Shit was
Radical.
radical.
Oh, man.
It was horrible.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, you've gone. Zeus has gone way off the rails.
Oh.
It's like deja vu. It's like deja vu. It's
Really,
like
me?
deja vu.
I did that.
It's like deja vu.
All right. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. This is the second day on the backup of the backup account, so usually that means it's going to be more of an intimate show, which is all right with me because yesterday we did a lot of work yesterday with Tiny Tank Top Tim Tom. All right, but before we get started with what we really must talk about this morning, I just want to make sure I get some of the housekeeping items out of the way. You know, especially for the YouTube people who watch the show, please make sure you like, you like this video, you subscribe to the platform, and then you share it with all of the MAGA demons out there, especially because this is a message specially catered for them, all right? But for those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. Yes, I'm the most honest person on social media, hands down. There's nobody more honest than me. The second H is because I am humble. Listen, if I get it wrong, I have no problem admitting that I've been misled. I have gotten access to a bad batch, so to speak, right? If you get access to a bad batch, you got to say it's a bad batch. You can't keep pushing it like it's a good batch, right? And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I am and will always remain, you've guessed it, the most handsome. Now, many of you are very familiar with what we do on this side of TikTok. What we do is spectacular. What we do is special. We hold Donald Trump accountable for his dirty, Donald Trump and his supporters. We hold them all accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds, as well as crimes. And actually after yesterday's show, right? Oh, Ange. All right, Ange Raid, come on in here. Come on, there's a lot of room in here. Come on, grab a chair, grab whatever you got. All right. And so, because we got work to do. After yesterday's show with Tiny Tank Top Tim Tom, it became crystal clear that we also, to my fellow Democrat friends out there, and whoever might be a specialist in this area, we need to help some folks understand why they need to have medical insurance. Because what we heard yesterday, it really did a number on me. I was blown away that we have some folks in this country who don't think that they need to be insured. And you talk to these people, and these are some lovely people in some cases, right? Is your soul insured? Yeah, my soul is insured with Jesus and God. Okay, great. Is your house insured? Oh yes, my house is insured. I got to do that. Why? Because the law says. Is your car insured? Is your boat insured? Yeah, everything is insured, but is your behind insured with healthcare? Why do I gotta insure my behind? See, so what we're gonna do is make sure if there's anybody out there in the healthcare field that could probably help us make some folks understand why it's important to have health insurance and not just rely on your life savings, I would be more than willing to allow you to come up here and at least try to educate some folks. All right, and that's a huge W, Zeus. And that's me being charitable, because if I'm going to give, I got to make sure I'm being a cheerful giver, so to speak, because that's how I was raised. Now, the next part of this is this. Do I have any Trump voters out there? Anybody out there still riding the Trump train? I haven't heard anyone say it in a long time, but is there anyone out there still chugging along on that proverbial, what do they call it, the Trump train? You know, anybody out there still on this thing? Trump. Yeah, that's how they ride on the Trump train. Trump, because that's the only thing they know. Anybody out there? Okay, all right, Jacob. Well, listen up, Jacob. I'm so glad that you identified yourself, because you're brave. This morning, you're one of the bravest people. I'm just going to give you a bit of a heads up so you don't get all upset, and then you know what y'all like to do. I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm going to click on Zeus, and then I'm going to click report. Why are you going to report? And you're going to create a narrative in your mind to try to report me, all because I'm simply being honest and telling you the truth. So if you don't want that to happen, Jacob, and anybody like Jacob that's still on that Trump train, you heard it, leave this show right now. Just leave, honestly. And you could go hang out with a bunch of these fake TikTok hosts. If you need some contact info about who is a good fake host to go and hang out with, send me a request. And based on the answers to some of the questions that I ask you, I'll be able to point you in the right direction, because there's a lot of great fake TikTok hosts on this platform, right? And they'll lie to you. You know what they'll do? They'll go, okay, they'll lie to you, right? Send me gifts. We don't like the Democrats. Send me gifts. And then, you send them all you have. You don't got much left, especially with the government shutdown. So you send all your money, and then they'll go, all right, you get on out of here. Come back tomorrow. There's more where that came from, all right? They'll do that. But over here, that's a W. I just thought of that. But for the rest of them, if you don't want that to happen to you, leave this live, like I said, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. I promise you it will. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, If you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, the doors to the Thunderdome, they've officially closed, and we're going to try to get through as many of these important topics as we can. So, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump and his Republican cronies, we all know it. You see the sign in my background. They've shut the government down, and they've just gone on this big distraction campaign right now, which is totally aimed at distracting everyday Americans, distracting us from what's really going on right now. And I'm a firm believer in this, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I really don't believe a lot of Trump voters will be around come midterms because their dear leader, Donald Trump, is making it his primary goal to destroy them. And he's doing it, it's a multi-pronged approach that he's using, all right? Definitely with the misinformation and the disinformation, that's off rip. You got to make sure these folks don't know what the heck's going on. You cut funding to various things that would actually help these people be healthier and smarter. And I would be just as, I would definitely attack education if I wanted a dumb group of people to continue to support me and send me their money. So you cut funding for education. I would definitely cut funding for healthcare. Just make them sick and miserable so that all they can do is think about me helping them. Because if you take away everything that they need and you convince these knuckleheads, these knuckle draggers, that the only person that can help them is me, then you kind of start to understand how Donald Trump runs his cult. So Donald Trump is literally just taking away federal funding and all kinds of access to things that his supporters would need to actually survive. And so a lot of you Trump voters, y'all won't make it. This might be one of the last messages you can honestly hear from your fellow Americans. So I hope you cherish it. So what I'll start out with is a story called, I Don't Know How I'm Going to Feed My Kids. And this is tied to the government shutdown. Audrey Murray, this is CNN, you could go look it up, is losing sleep over the government shutdown that could soon derail her paychecks. Murray, 65, has worked as a cleaner in the Smithsonian Museum of American History for nearly 3 decades. Now she's among hundreds of thousands of federal government contractors, not employees, contractors, whose livelihoods are being threatened by the political dysfunction in Washington, D.C., caused by Donald Trump. Quote, "It's so sad that they think they can play with people's lives." This is what she said while fighting back tears to stop. Stop this. Stop messing with people's money. We have families that depend on us. This is what Donald Trump is doing to women in America. He's making them cry as he strips away their resources to be able to provide for themselves and their family. Unlike federal employees, contractors typically don't receive back pay when the government reopens from a shutdown. Low-wage service workers, including cleaners, janitors, security guards, cafeteria workers, and other staffers who keep building operating, they're out of luck. The Smithsonian Institution, which includes all Smithsonian museums, plans to go dark after Saturday if the government shutdown continues beyond where it's at now. If that happens, Murray worries how she will provide for not one, not two, but all 3 of her children and her grandchildren in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Quote, hold on, let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to butcher what she said. "I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids or pay my mortgage. It's not about me. I don't care if I don't eat, but I want them to. I pay my bills. I do everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm worried that I can't get any sleep." Nathan Bailey. Send me a guest request, Nathan Bailey, with your un-American self, because I'm sitting here reading a story to you about a woman who's literally fighting for her life. All right. She doesn't have the ability to go to the bank and pull the money out or do anything because the shutdown is happening. And you're sitting here saying, but 3 Democrats are blocking the CR because they want to change. I hate to have to do this, but I'm going to keep going. All right. So we've gotten that story. Now, Nathan, since you wanted to go that far, let's listen to what their dear leader, Donald J. Trump, is saying. All right. And this has to do, and there's reporting out there with how Donald Trump reacts to Americans that are in Murray's situation. They're crying. They can't even stay awake. He's asked about whether or not she should get back pay. And so let's listen to what Donald Trump says real quick.
Is it the White House's position that furloughed workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way, okay?
He said, you heard what he said. There's some people who don't deserve to be taken care of, but we'll take care of them in a different way. You know what that means, right? That doesn't mean we're going to do something positive. No, hold on. No, I can't do any I don't do the battling. Sorry. No co-host. That means he's going to take care of them in a different way. That's mafia talk. That's mob boss talk. All right. Cause that's what he operates like. He's basically saying you might as well kiss your life goodbye, because we're going to actually make sure we rob you of your ability to pay for any of your bills, and then we're going to come for your property like your houses. I mean, that's where my mind goes. I could be wrong, though. That's just my opinion. But reporters, they didn't let up on Donald Trump behind with this. Let's go further into this interview. This is his interview with the Prime Minister of Canada, by the way. You can go look this up. They ask him again about back pay, and just listen to how Donald Trump once again sticks it to the American people.
A golden dome for the two countries, and something that I think is going to be very important, especially when you look at the world, you look at what's happening. We want to have that protection. It's really amazing. The technology is unbelievable.
Okay, here it goes.
Why do you say some federal workers should not get their back pay? Why do you say some?
Well, you're going to have to figure that out. Okay, ask the Democrats that question.
Mr. President, just to follow up there, I mean, the law says that when the government is reopened, that workers will receive their back pay. So are you going to defy the law there, or what do you hope?
I follow the law, and what the law says is correct, and I follow the law.
So he's telling folks like Murray, ladies and gentlemen, that she's going to have to figure that out. Good morning. What can a person who's barely making ends meet, what can she figure out? And all of this, while this is all happening, there's a major issue happening. She's also panicking possibly about her health care costs, right? Because that's why the Democrats are standing up against Donald Trump. They're actually trying to save everyone's life by helping them get affordable health care. Quiet as it is kept, Donald Trump is gaslighting the heck out of his base, and it's really at a point with his base. And I like to use analogies. So Donald Trump's base, they know he's a dealer of some sort. He's a dealer of some sort. All right. Yeah, no, Lisa, I'm being honest with you. He's a dealer. Everybody knows he's pushing a bad batch. And the question now becomes, how many times will MAGA keep taking from that bad batch before they wake up and realize he's really doing a number on you and he's really trying to take you out the game, right? And every day it just astonishes me that MAGA gets more and more ignorant, more and more careless about their own livelihood. And I'm not lying. You can go fact check me, look me up, and look all this stuff up. And so what I'll do is this. Let's go ahead and break down what this is really about with this government shutdown.
That wasn't where I was going.
President Trump was also questioned about whether federal workers will receive back pay for salaries lost due to the shutdown. It comes after a draft White House memo suggested furloughed workers and federal employees working right now without pay are not guaranteed compensation.
Wow.
For more on this, let's bring in CBS News White House reporter.
So Trump is blaming the Democrats, but when questioned, hey, do you want to give these people back pay? The right thing for him to say, if he wants to play that game, would be, yes, I want to give them back pay, but I can't because of the Democrats. But what he doesn't say that. He actually says, I don't want to pay you because of a memo that I signed back in my first term. So he's basically blaming himself for not wanting to pay you. all of you who've been financially harmed by Donald Trump shutting down the government, he's actually on record admitting he doesn't want to pay you.
Aaron Navarro. Aaron, thanks for being with us here tonight. So it's getting a lot of attention. What is this draft memo saying? It's coming from the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. What does it really lay out?
Essentially, Nancy, this memo makes a legal argument that the government has no obligation to provide back pay funding for furloughed government workers as well as those who are working right now still without pay. It focuses in on a 2019 law that is meant to ensure back pay for federal workers called the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act. The administration...
Government Employee Fair Treatment Act. All right, look it up. Government Employee Fair Treatment Act. MAGA. So Trump is saying, because of that act, I don't have to pay these federal workers. And it's an act that he implemented in his first term. You can go look it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I say all that to remind you all that this is Donald Trump's shutdown. His name is everywhere. Just like when it comes to the Epstein files, his name is everywhere. And if you're still on the fence about who's responsible, just make sure you remember, you listen to Big Zeus tell you today, all signs, all roads lead to Donald Trump and his cult. All right. And so they're too ignorant, and they're covering for probably one of the most corrupt presidents we've ever seen. Actually, one of the most corrupt leaders that ever has been alive. This is what we're watching. And so this is why I say it. A lot of you Trump voters, y'all will not be here come midterm, because you are literally inhaling the worst batch of product I've ever seen a president be able to cook up. And you don't mind it, so you don't value yourselves. And I don't want to hear a thing about President Joe Biden. All right? Anybody that mentions Joe Biden, send me a guest request. But if you don't, good morning, Christina. Nice to see you again. And if you're going to bring up Joe Biden and not get up here, if you're going to bring him up in the comment section but not request up, I'm just going to ask the mods to kindly mute you. Ange, are you here, Ange? Where did you go? Did I see Ange? Did I see Ange? Where's Ange at? I didn't see you. I want to make sure. I got to make sure I have, the right power, the right weapons out here, and all of the wonderful people out here that do the work that needs to. Hey, Yazzie. Good morning, Yazzie. Now, should I continue about this shutdown? Should I continue, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning, hey, Rick. Good morning, Rick. Nice to see you. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're going to continue more about Donald Trump's government shutdown. Let's move on to my next topic, all right? And I have to put the hammer away on my show, because they say that this is why I know TikTok is racist. They say, well, Zeus, when you have the hammer out, it looks dangerous. And I'm so, okay, I'm being racially profiled. You know what? Let's give TikTok a round of booze and shame for that. That was wrong. Let's not do that.
Silence.
Yeah. They don't like seeing a fine brother like me in a position of power. It makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel threatened. Oh, give me a break. It's TikTok, for goodness sake. So now let's move on to some more consequences of Donald Trump's government shutdown. How many of you recognize this situation? How many of you probably been in a situation like this? This is just two random people. I don't know them, but I found the photo of them. They look like they're in distress, and this has to do with their flights being delayed. Their flights are delayed. W Rick in the chat, all right? How many of you out there like delayed flights? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you like delayed flights out there. Just go ahead. I just want to see where you're at right now, okay? Anyone out there likes delayed flights? Because this is another example of the failures of the current Trump administration. Yeah. So when you have a government shutdown and you have people not getting paid, the morale. No, Steve-O. I didn't mention no Chuck Schumer. The morale literally plummets to the floor. And so what we'll do now, ladies and gentlemen, and this is for all of you who might be traveling right around this time, as we're going into the holiday season and the government is shut down. This is a quick PSA announcement.
We are now entering the 7th day of the government shutdown. 2 measures to fund the government failed in the Senate. Both parties are still pinning the blame on each other, with no visible progress in negotiations.
Oh.
And now travelers are feeling the impacts of this shutdown. Shortages of air traffic controllers who are currently not getting paid have led to some delays and even some cancellations. The Hollywood Burbank Airport near Los Angeles went several hours last night without any air traffic controllers in the tower.
Steve O, if you want to put a lie like that in my comment section, send a guest request. Other than that, do me a favor, just zip it. All right? We're literally talking to you about flights being canceled. Have you ever been in an airport stranded and your flight's been delayed? Do you understand how uncomfortable that is? While you're sitting around here blaming Chuck Schumer and the Democrats? Get your head out of Donald Trump's diaper, bro.
Just get back to like said, everything's closed for like our clearances. The clinic is closed, ground's closed, local's closed, the channel area is closed due to staffing.
Closed. That's what they're saying.
You have a
Closed.
number in the green book for your clearance.
CBS News correspondent Chanel Call has been monitoring this story for us. Chanel, what was the situation last night?
Well, you mentioned there were no air traffic controllers there, Liz. Forget this, 6 hours last night. That obviously causing some confusion, some big delays. The FAA actually said outgoing flights there at Burbank Airport,
6 hours.
they were running 3 hours late on average.
Wow.
Now, as of this morning, all air traffic controllers, they were expected to go back to work. And while they were gone, though, the FAA had said that the Southern California TRACON was in control of the air traffic in that area. This is an organization that provides air traffic control for arriving and departing flights elsewhere in the region.
Wow.
6 hours without air traffic controllers. That's a long time. So how is the federal government responding to this?
So, Liz, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy spoke about the situation from Newark International Airport, and he's saying, look, these types of cancellations, they happen, he says, in an effort to make sure passengers stay safe in the air. Listen.
Watch them.
There's been, one facility one day, another facility another day. Some areas there's been a 50% reduction in some of the staffing. And again, we're tracking it, and we take the appropriate action necessary to make sure our skies are safe. If we see there's issues in the tower that are affecting controllers' ability to effectively control the airspace, we'll reduce the rate, and you'll see more delays, or you might see a cancellation. I'm willing to do that before we're willing to risk anyone's life in the air.
Wow. So flying right now, according to Sean Duffy, it's really a matter of life or death right now. We have the government shut down. We have a shortage of air traffic controllers, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, again, when I hear Trump voters running around this app telling me lies, oh, I feel so much safer with Donald Trump in office. You just have to ask yourself, when did you start? You have to ask them, when did you start hating yourselves? And when did you start hating your country? Yeah, we can't even go from point A to B anymore because Donald Trump is destroying the aviation industry day by day with his incompetence. And the people around him, this is why I think when this is all said and done, we're going to have to bring Jack Smith back. And this time, Jack Smith and someone like him unleashed. And we're just going to start having to round these folks up and lock them up real quickly. All right, you know what you did? You didn't tell Donald Trump that he was wrong. You disobeyed the law. Guess what? You got to go. Huge W, Zeus. Right? Now listen to what some of these listen to what some voters, I call them voters, listen to how they sound when they're in the airport. And tell me if you can relate to how these folks sound when they're in the airport.
And Liz, I do want to note that this isn't the only place that will see problems getting off the ground. The FAA is saying...
Here it goes.
From Nashville.
By lawmakers in Washington.
This is how you say
We're coming from Nashville, and so we already had like a 2.5-hour flight. That one was delayed, and then this one is further delayed. We just want to go home.
I left Nebraska, came here.
Wow.
And as I was waiting, my husband in California informed me that there were no air traffic controllers in Burbank, California until 10 o'clock tonight.
Kind of sucks. I have to get back tomorrow, so I'm kind of screwed if I don't.
I think it's totally ridiculous. This is because there's an air traffic controller shortage. Because of the government shutdown.
They have no idea how they're disrupting everybody's lives.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Can anybody get along?
Your feelings about the government shutdown now?
Is I'd like them to get it together. I'd really like them to get it together. Maybe work together.
Concerned.
Like they're supposed to.
Well, we're big boys and girls. We can have a discussion. We don't have to be on the same side.
Wow.
We can have a conversation and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just tired. Long day.
Oh, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Trump's America. where the government shut down, flights are canceled. I mean, it's like he's competing with Putin right now because, in Russia, they're running out of gas, right? So Trump is like, well, I got something better. We're going to start having to cancel flights. This is the most embarrassing, disgusting, evil, sick situation I've ever seen. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick second and warm up the lake of fire. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to send Donald Trump and this administration where they belong in the middle of all of this. This is a chaotic government. And we do know why they're really shutting the government down. The real reason is because they don't want to release the Epstein files, right? And that's just going to be what I know is true until somebody proves me otherwise. But ladies and gentlemen, join me in sending Donald Trump and his supporters straight to hell. I don't got three more nothing. Silence. I don't got three more big thing. Let me move on to the next thing. So in addition to what we see is going on there, ladies and gentlemen, with the aviation industry and, passengers being stranded, let me see if we can get that. Oh, my God. Does anybody know what that is? Does anybody know what that is in the background? Does anybody know what that is? I got more photos of it. You know what that is? It's a cart full of them. All right. You know what that is? That's an aisle full of it. You see what that is, ladies and gentlemen? Grocery prices. Yeah, eggs. W to the audience. Huge W. Eggs. Healthy food, perhaps, One of the biggest lies Donald Trump keeps repeating is inflation is at zero and grocery prices have came down and they're so affordable now. But we all know, no, they're not. And so what I'll do, and the reason the grocery prices are up partially is due to Donald Trump's trade wars, right? So what we'll do is, ladies and gentlemen, let's make sure we help the American people understand the situation. And this, again, when I say a lot of Trump voters won't be here around midterm, this is why. Because it's not just one thing he's doing. It's multiple things that he is doing that are contributing to what I consider very unsafe situations, all right? And again, it's the government shutdown is just the most recent one. But the tariffs are, all right, because what that does is that increases the cost of living, all right, when we see it, or it puts some folks out of business, all right, and you're out of business, you don't got any money, you can't do anything, you can't pay for healthcare or anything like that, right? So it's that. It's, you see what he's doing with RFK Jr., with our healthcare and stuff like that. They're just basically defying science and saying, no, we know what's better because we just think this works. And so what we'll do now is let's talk about the hidden tariff cost at grocery stores, if you don't mind, real quickly. And this is just an example.
And like larger grocers, the company is starting to feel the strain from President Trump's global tariffs.
Right now, you're just throwing darts. We don't know what'll happen.
We visited Stu Leonard's flagship store to see how tariffs are affecting a handful of popular grocery items and what that says about the future effects of Trump's trade war. Pineapples from Costa Rica, fish from Greece, and even cheese from Italy.
They didn't even know that.
All of these items are subject to Trump's tariffs.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean customers are paying more for them.
Okay.
Yet.
I'm just trying to get customers the product on the shelf. And sometimes you got to raise your price. I don't want to, but everybody brought stuff in pre-tariff. They got it stateside. Those inventories are getting depleted now. Now the real question is you got to go back into the market and buy for the holidays, and a lot of those prices have gone up.
You hear that? So the front loading, oh my God, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I got to appeal the live. I don't know why I got reported. I have been so behaved this morning. I don't know why it is, but we're going to keep rocking and rolling. Who cares? They want to report Big Zeus for telling the truth. What a disgrace. Oh, wait. Did I hear somebody say something? He says, so prices didn't go up yet. Yeah, because they bought a lot of it. They front loaded it. But if you listen, this is a business owner reporting live about what's going on.
Other major grocers face the same problem. Just listen to Walmart CEO on the company's latest earnings call.
Watch this.
But as we replenish inventory at post-tariff price levels, we've continued to see our costs increase each week.
They do not want to be perceived as increasing their food prices, as contributing to inflation. They want to be perceived as supporting customers, as maintaining food prices as low as possible.
A number of factors can drive up grocery prices, like extreme weather or smaller herd sizes. But recent economic data suggests Trump's tariffs aren't helping. Grocery costs cooled considerably after spiking during the pandemic.
Right.
But this August, they climbed 2.7% when compared to a year ago, marking the fastest pace of grocery inflation in 2 years.
The fastest pace of grocery inflation in 2 years. So where are all of my critics? Where are all of my detractors? Walmart isn't lying about prices going up. Tell them to Keisha. So you see what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. W Miss Obvious, thank you all for supporting the live and pushing back against the hatred. Because they report me, and I'm like, I've been so well behaved this morning. And yet and still. And that's why I say I think there is something more nefarious going on behind the scenes with this app. Yazzie, beef prices are high because of low inventory, drought, and tariffs. Yeah. So we all know grocery prices are going through the roof. And this is where Donald Trump has his supporters. A lot of his supporters, they're poorly educated because he already admitted smart people don't like him. So where we're at right now, in terms of the support that Donald Trump still has, this is basically the cult that you see in this country. And it's the bottom of the barrel within the cult that are still really supporting this man. So he's got him in a situation where the government shut down. He slapped them over the face with tariffs, right? He's cutting their health care every chance that he's get. And he's jacking up the cost of living any opportunity he gets. And he's every day bombarding them with requests. Hey, send Donald Trump some of the money you got. Send me some money. I need some more money. And they don't understand that all of this is perfectly engineered to sabotage all of them, and by midterms make sure they won't be able to vote. So what I'll do is this, ladies and gentlemen, and I gotta move it on. Join me in warming up the lake of fire. If you are still in Donald Trump's cult and you're still supporting him, what that means is you don't love yourself and you don't love your country. And so with that being said, why should we? Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we gotta do. Let's send them straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA Damon.
What's up? One of the biggest lies, and I invited What's Up to get up here. So y'all can mute him if y'all want to. Y'all don't have to, but if you feel like it, do it. Democrats don't care. If that was true, I wouldn't be sitting up here hosting a live. A lot of the folks that are on the internet creating content around political issues, if we really didn't care, we wouldn't be doing that. Because there's a good friend of mine attacking, and he said something, and it's always rang true, like freedom in my mind. But he said, we wouldn't be here if you all would simply be, honest and stop being hypocrites. Because right is right, wrong is wrong. We were all raised with morals and integrity. We were taught having morals, having integrity. Those are good qualities that leaders should possess. You had to write personal statements and apply for things, and you have to be able to articulate very clearly that you understood this. And then, whoop, the rug gets completely pulled from beneath our feet, and we end up with Donald Trump in the White House. All right. And so now the question begins. Now the question is, so when did it become acceptable to be immoral? Right? When did it become acceptable to, when I say immoral, to become a cheater, right? An abuser, a harasser, an essayer, a thief? When did it become acceptable to be those things? And this is the one thing that I'll actually bring up, and then we'll go to actually having real conversations in the audience with real people. This goes back to what I mean when I say, when did it become acceptable to be immoral, right? And so you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. We got to go right here. Does anyone know who this is? Does anybody know who that is? Does anybody know who this is? Pam Bondi. You ever heard of her? She's the Attorney General. Or as I like to say, Donald Trump's personal attorney. We pay her money because she's a public servant, right? That means taxpayers pay this woman. But all she does is, for some strange reason, only protects Donald Trump. She didn't protect Charlie Kirk. She's not protecting all of these innocent folks that are losing their lives as a result of these domestic teas in the country. No, she only cares about protecting Donald Trump, but she's making us pay for it, right? So what I want to do is just make sure MAGA understands why I say you've literally destroyed this country, because I was just talking about being an immoral person, right? And when did it becoming immoral become a good thing, right? And this is a good example, and it has to do with, you guessed it, Jeffrey. What do you know what I'm going to say? You know what it has to do?
Sure.
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Desecration, that's a big word for him. All right, I'll go ahead. So yesterday, we all saw the moment when Pam Bondi, she had what they consider a theatrical meltdown. And this is in relationship to the Epstein files. So let's get this on the record.
Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found...
Diane, how do you feel about that? I sent you an invite, Diane. How do you feel about what you just heard Senator Whitehouse say? Quiet as a church mouse. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's how the devil leaves you. Right? The devil will have you acting up like that, Diane, and then God shines the light on you, and you'll go, I don't know how that happened. It's because you allowed the devil to do a number on you, W. Zeus. So let me get back to making the point.
Photos of President Trump with half-naked young women.
Wow.
Do you know if the FBI found those photographs? Search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise. Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was
she is wrong.
With Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay?
She went radio silent right there. You know what that means, right, MAGA? You know what that means? That means guilty. All right, that means I'm hiding something, and I don't want to be found out, so to speak, right? So let me ask the question again: is there any Trump voter out there that thinks Donald Trump is innocent when it comes to these Epstein files still? And then if so, could you explain why Pam Bondi, why she went silent? Yeah, this is guilty. This is what it looks like to me. Guilty. Yeah. Why do my tax-paying dollars have to go fund stuff like this? We have a Department of Justice that has zero accountability, and all of these right-wing content creators that I see, they're running around here defending a Department of Justice that's literally protecting a ring of P3DOs. This is why I say God's judgment is truly upon this country, and it has a lot to do with the darkness and the evil spirit that's within the cult, MAGA cult. I've been inviting folks who are in my comment section trying to disagree with me. I've been inviting them up just to see if they could come up in the box and be honest about what's going on. We've already covered a lot of things. We've talked about the government shutdown, right? We've talked about flight delays. We've talked about grocery prices. And now we're talking about Epstein. And these knuckleheads, these knuckle draggers, they will still come up on this show and start talking about, guess who? Joe Biden and the Democrats, Bill Clinton and Obama. So what that tells me is there's something truly going on inside of you. and you need professional therapy. Sophie came up here; she's a therapist. Maybe it's now time. Maybe it's now time for Big Zeus to just start telling you all, go get therapy, go get some professional help. Because when you're this ignorant, you know, it's like what Donald Trump says about you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
How are you gonna let a man that calls you that? How are you gonna support a man that calls you that? How are you gonna support a man that actually made y'all dress up in trash bags after Joe Biden called you trash? And then try to get on the internet and act intelligent?
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Let's get back into some of this Epstein stuff. Listen to this. This is just more proof that Donald Trump is clearly implicated in the Epstein files.
Secretary Howard Lutnick on October 1 gave an interview to the New York Post about Mr. Epstein. And he described Mr. Epstein as, quote, the greatest blackmailer ever, close.
So Howard Lutnick called him the greatest blackmailer ever, but Donald Trump called Epstein a terrific guy. W, Little Hawk. Who's lying? MAGA. Who's lying? Trump said he's a terrific guy. Let me go back and read. Let's go make sure we heard what Howard Lutnick called him. And Howard Lutnick works currently in the Trump administration, right?
And he described Mr. Epstein as, quote, the greatest blackmailer ever, close quote. Have you reviewed that transcript of that interview?
I have not reviewed the transcript, but I saw the clip of it.
Okay. It appears that Secretary Lutnick was Mr. Epstein's next door neighbor.
Oh.
In fact, their townhomes shared a wall. And the reporter that was talking to Mr. Lutnick, she asked how other prominent men could have been associated with Epstein when Mr. Lutnick could immediately sense that he was a, quote, pervert. And then Secretary Lutnick said, or rather the reporter said, did they see it and ignore it? Do you remember that from the interview?
I do.
Thank you, Zena.
And Commerce Secretary Lutnick said, no.
Oh.
They participate.
Oh. So Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick said the people who were in Epstein's orbit, he's confirmed that they knew he was doing this, which means Donald Trump knew what Epstein was doing. At a bare minimum, Donald Trump knew what he was doing. And then he actually went further and then said, and they participated in it. So what that tells me, ladies and gentlemen, is when you layer that cake with the fact Donald Trump is trying to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, which she was convicted of trafficking, right? He's trying to pardon her. And Donald Trump won't release the files. You have really no other choice but to conclude there's something in those files Donald Trump doesn't want to come out. And we already heard about evidence of a photo that may be out there, right? So, I mean, again, where are all my critics? Where are all of my detractors that want to come up here? They can't defend this.
And then Commerce Secretary Lutnick goes on to say, quote, that's what his MO was. You know, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was a video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever, blackmailed people. That's how he had money, end quote. Is that true?
Senators, our July memo said we did not uncover evidence. This case has gone through 3 administrations, as well as former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta.
I know that, Pam, but have you interviewed Secretary Lutnick?
No, Senator.
Do you plan to?
If he wants to talk to the FBI or the FBI wants to talk to him, that is more than on.
Don't you think you ought to talk to him after this interview?
Senator, if Howard Lutnick wants to speak to the FBI and if Director Patel wants to speak to Howard Lutnick, absolutely.
Okay. Maybe we'll...
Wow. So she's actively going out of her way to not talk to folks who could actually provide us with some more closure on the Epstein files. But y'all want to sit out there and blame Joe Biden. That's why I say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. All right. And a lot of you Trump voters out there, this is another example. While you are so busy thinking it's a bunch of Democrats in there, your heads are just so far up Donald Trump's behind where you can't even see that Donald Trump is clearly he's the person behind the curtain you don't want to believe he is. Yeah, go watch Wizard of Oz. If I could remake the movie, I'd make it when you pull the curtain back. Guess who it is? It'd be Donald Trump. That's a huge W, Zeus. Y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of heartless, brainless characters in the Wizard of Oz movie, and you know exactly who those characters are, all right? But let's move it along. This is the part that really gets to me, and it's when Pam Bondi, had an outburst about being called a liar. And I posted the video of it, but we'll go ahead and get this on the record, and then we'll move on and open up the box and start talking to brave people. Listen to Pam Bondi. She gets very, very defensive when she's being questioned about, guess who? Tom Homan accepting $50,000 in cash. See, the question is, should we allow our federal employees, should we allow people to be bribed? Should we allow people in government to be bribed? All right. And this is the big question. And watch just how she just does a number on herself.
I do want to go back to Homan. There's a tape, right, with Mr. Homan?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, is there a tape that has audio and video of the transfer of the $50,000?
Yeah.
You would have to talk to Director Patel about that.
No, I'm talking to you.
I don't know the answer, Senator.
Yeah, you do know the answer.
Don't call me a liar.
I didn't call you a liar.
You just said I know the answer. I said I don't know the answer.
Well,
you have to talk to Director
me,
Patel. What I said is that investigation was closed.
If you don't know, why don't you know whether there was a tape and video?
Right.
Senator, I believe that was resolved prior to my confirmation as Attorney General.
Do you think that it is of public interest for the people to know what happened to the $50,000 that the FBI turned over to Homan?
Did you hear what I just said? That was resolved prior to my confirmation as Attorney General. That's why I said I would not know.
It's not resolved. There's $50,000. Homan has it, or somebody